So here's the wild story I heard. Mike Tyson, the legendary boxer, just going about his business. Then enters Jake Paul, the YouTube star turned boxer, who's made a name for himself by picking fights and stirring the pot. Apparently, Jake made some really tasteless comments about Tyson's family. I mean, everyone knows you don't mess with family, right? Word on the street is Tyson got wind of these comments, and man, did he lose it. Imagine Tyson, with that intense look he gets, fuming. He's not just mad, he's on the edge of snapping. The thing is, Tyson's got a history of being a bit unpredictable, especially when it comes to people crossing the line. Jake Paul, on the other hand, seems to thrive on this kind of chaos. Some say he does it on purpose to get under people's skin, but Tyson, that's playing with fire. Supposedly, there was an intense exchange behind the scenes. Tyson's camp tried to calm him down, but the man was on a mission. He felt disrespected, and not just him, but his family. There's this rumor that Tyson even showed up unannounced at one of Jake's training sessions. Imagine the scene, Jake doing his usual showboating, and then the door swings open, and in walks Tyson, seething. The room goes silent. No one wants to make eye contact, and Jake, for once, looks like he's in over his head. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. People close to the situation say Tyson gave Jake a piece of his mind, and it wasn't pretty. It was less about threats and more about laying down the law. "Don't touch my family," Tyson reportedly yelled, his voice echoing through the gym. It wasn't just a warning, it was a declaration. Jake, they say, tried to play it cool, but you could tell he was rattled. The whole scene was supposedly intense, with Tyson's fury filling the room. His words were like punches themselves, direct, powerful, and leaving a lasting impact. Jake might be known for his antics and bravado, but in that moment, facing Tyson's wrath, it was a different story. Now, whether or not this all happened exactly as people say, who knows? But the buzz around it is electrifying. It's like a real-life drama unfolding, with larger-than-life characters and stakes that feel incredibly high. If anything, it's a reminder that even in the world of hype and spectacle, there are lines that shouldn't be crossed. Let's dive deeper into this wild rumor because the details just get juicier. Imagine Tyson sitting at home, or maybe at one of his pigeon lofts, getting a call or seeing a clip where Jake Paul is mouthing off about his family. You know Tyson, he's a calm guy these days, but his past is full of moments where he just couldn't hold back. And this time, it felt personal. Tyson's reaction was immediate. He didn't just simmer quietly, he erupted. Those close to him said they hadn't seen him this worked up in years. It wasn't just about a random internet troll. This was Jake Paul, a guy with a massive platform and a penchant for saying whatever he thinks will get the most attention. Tyson's team knew they had to do something to de-escalate the situation, but it was like trying to stop a freight train. Rumor has it Tyson's people tried to get in touch with Jake's camp to smooth things over. They wanted Jake to apologize publicly, to take back what he said. But you know Jake, apologies aren't really his thing. Instead, he doubled down, posting more videos, making light of the situation, and even daring Tyson to confront him. It's like he didn't understand, or maybe he did, how serious Tyson was. That's when Tyson decided to take matters into his own hands. He wasn't going to sit around waiting for an apology that was never going to come. He showed up at Jake's gym. Now, you have to picture this. Jake, probably in the middle of one of his over-the-top training sessions, with cameras rolling and his entourage hyping him up. Suddenly, there's a shift in the atmosphere. The door opens, and in walks Tyson, a living legend, with fury in his eyes. Jake's crew must have been stunned. They probably thought it was a joke at first, part of some staged event. But one look at Tyson, and they knew this was the real deal. Tyson didn't come to play games. He walked right up to Jake and the room fell silent. Everyone could feel the gravity of the moment. Tyson didn't raise his voice at first. He didn't need to. His presence alone was enough to make everyone uneasy. Jake tried to keep his cool, but you could see the fear creeping into his eyes. This wasn't some social media beef anymore. This was real. Tyson started speaking, his voice low and controlled, but every word was laced with intensity. He told Jake that family was off limits, that there were lines you just didn't cross. The more he spoke, the more it became clear that this wasn't just about Tyson's family. It was about respect, about the way Jake had been going about his business, thinking he was untouchable. "Don't touch my family," Tyson's voice finally rose, echoing through the gym. It wasn't just a warning, it was a command. Jake's bravado melted away. He tried to say something, maybe a weak attempt at a joke or a deflection, but Tyson wasn't having any of it. The look in his eyes said it all. This was serious, and Jake needed to understand that. After that confrontation, the rumor mill went into overdrive. Some said Jake was visibly shaken for days, while others claimed he laughed it off in private. But one thing was clear: he had been rattled. Tyson's visit was a stark reminder that for all his internet fame and boxing aspirations, Jake was still a young guy stepping into a world with real consequences. The aftermath was just as intense. Tyson apparently went back to his life, but the incident left a lasting impression on everyone who witnessed it. Jake, on the other hand, had to navigate the fallout. His fans, always eager for the next piece of drama, were divided. Some loved that he had the guts to provoke Tyson, while others thought he had gone too far. What's even crazier is that this whole episode didn't just affect Jake and Tyson. Other fighters, promoters, and even celebrities started weighing in. It became a hot topic on sports shows and gossip columns alike. Everyone had an opinion, and the debate raged on. Was Jake Paul a genius for drumming up this kind of attention, or was he an idiot for poking the bear? Behind the scenes, Jake's team was scrambling. They had to manage the PR nightmare while also figuring out how to keep the momentum going without pushing Tyson or anyone else too far. It's a delicate balance, trying to stay relevant and provocative without crossing the line into dangerous territory. And after the Tyson incident, that line seemed a lot clearer. But here's the thing. For all the chaos and drama, it worked. Jake Paul's name was everywhere. People who didn't know much about boxing or didn't care about YouTube stars were suddenly talking about him. And isn't that the whole point? In the world of modern celebrity, any publicity is good publicity, right? Even if it means staring down one of the most intimidating figures in sports history. Let's dive even deeper into the layers of this story because every detail adds another twist. Imagine Tyson, a man who's battled not just in the ring but with his own demons, now facing an unexpected adversary. Mike Tyson, whose life story is a blend of triumph and tragedy, redemption and relapse, now being pulled back into the limelight not by choice, but by the actions of a brash young upstart. Tyson's life in recent years had been one of reflection and peace. He found solace in his pigeons, a hobby that's been with him since childhood, and has been open about his struggles and growth. So when Jake Paul's comments hit, it wasn't just a slight, it was an intrusion into a hard-won peace. Friends and close associates say Tyson was deeply hurt, not just angry. It was a betrayal of a kind of respect he thought was mutual among fighters, regardless of the generation gap. Jake Paul, on the other hand, was riding a wave. He had successfully transitioned from a controversial YouTube star to a serious, albeit unorthodox figure in the boxing world. His antics, often criticized as disrespectful, were also his signature move, drawing attention, stirring controversy, and making headlines. But Tyson was a different beast. As the story goes, when Tyson first saw the video, he was at his Las Vegas home. His initial disbelief quickly turned into a storm of emotions. Tyson's team knew the signs. They had seen the quiet before the storm, the tightening of his jaw, the slow burn in his eyes. They tried to reach out to Jake's camp to defuse the situation, but Jake, true to form, doubled down. More videos, more taunts, each one stoking the fire. The decision to confront Jake was not taken lightly. Tyson's advisors were torn. On one hand, they understood the need to stand up for oneself and one's family. On the other, they feared the repercussions. But Tyson was resolute. This wasn't just about him. It was about his family, his legacy, and a fundamental principle of respect. When Tyson showed up at Jake's gym, it was unannounced. No entourage, no cameras, just Tyson and a couple of his trusted friends. The gym, usually a hive of activity with music blaring and people talking, fell silent when Tyson walked in. His presence was electric. He walked with purpose, each step measured, eyes fixed on Jake. Jake, in the middle of his training, initially thought it was a setup for another viral moment, but the look in Tyson's eyes told him otherwise. This was no game. This was real. Tyson walked up to Jake, the room so quiet you could hear a pin drop. There was no bravado in Tyson's stance, just a controlled, almost eerie calm. "Jake," Tyson said, his voice steady but filled with intensity, "you crossed a line." Jake, trying to maintain his composure, mumbled something about it being a joke, not meaning any harm. But Tyson cut him off. "Don't touch my family," he said, louder this time, the words hanging in the air like a palpable threat. "You think this is a game? This is my life, my family. You don't get to joke about them." Jake's team, usually so quick to jump in and back him up, stayed silent. They could see the seriousness in Tyson's demeanor. This wasn't about boxing or hype. This was personal. Tyson's words were not just a warning. They were a declaration of a boundary that should never be crossed. The tension in the room was almost unbearable. Tyson didn't wait for a response. He had said what he needed to say. He turned and walked out, leaving a stunned silence in his wake. Jake, for once, was left speechless. His team quickly rallied around him, but the damage was done. The encounter was over, but the impact would linger. In the days that followed, the story spread like wildfire. Some painted Jake as the villain who got a taste of his own medicine, while others admired his guts for standing up to Tyson, even if it was foolhardy. Tyson's calm but firm stance won him praise for handling the situation with a mix of dignity and controlled aggression. It was a reminder of why he was not just a boxing legend, but a formidable personality. The incident didn't just stay within the boxing community. It spilled over into mainstream media, with everyone from sports analysts to talk show hosts weighing in. Tyson, who had been out of the limelight for a while, was once again front and center. His handling of the situation was dissected and discussed, with many appreciating the restraint he showed, given his notorious temper. Jake Paul, meanwhile, faced a different kind of scrutiny. His fans were used to his antics, but this was different. He had poked a sleeping giant and, for the first time, seemed to realize the gravity of his actions. His bravado took a hit, and while he tried to laugh it off in public, those close to him said he was genuinely shaken. Behind the scenes, Jake's team went into damage control mode. They knew they had to spin the story in a way that wouldn't alienate his fan base, while also showing some respect to Tyson. They crafted a carefully worded statement attempting to downplay the incident as a misunderstanding and emphasizing Jake's respect for Tyson as a legend. It was a delicate balance, and the PR team worked overtime to manage the fallout. Meanwhile, Tyson's camp was more relaxed. They knew Tyson had made his point. The incident had reinforced his reputation not just as a former champion, but as someone who commanded respect. Tyson himself was more reflective. In interviews that followed, he spoke about the importance of respect in the sport, about the lines that shouldn't be crossed, and about his own journey of self-control and redemption. The broader impact of the incident was fascinating. It brought to light the generational divide in the world of boxing and social media. Older fans and traditionalists sided with Tyson, appreciating his stance on respect and family. Younger fans, more attuned to the world of YouTube and social media stunts, were divided. Some saw Jake as a bold disruptor, while others felt he had finally met his match and needed to rethink his approach. For the boxing world, it was a mix of entertainment and a cautionary tale. Promoters and fighters alike took note. The incident was a stark reminder of the power dynamics in the sport, the importance of respect, and the potential dangers of crossing established boundaries. It also highlighted the evolving nature of fame and how the lines between different forms of celebrity are increasingly blurred. Jake Paul, always one to capitalize on controversy, eventually turned the incident into content. He released a series of videos reflecting on what happened, mixing genuine reflections with his characteristic humor. He knew his audience well, and while he toned down his antics slightly, he continued to push boundaries, albeit with a newfound awareness of the potential repercussions. Tyson, on the other hand, continued his path of introspection and peace. He used the incident as a platform to talk about respect, growth, and the importance of maintaining boundaries. His fans saw a different side of him, a man who had fought his demons and come out stronger, a man who now fought not with his fists, but with his principles. The story of Mike Tyson and Jake Paul became more than just a clash of personalities. It became a narrative about the changing nature of fame, the enduring values of respect and family, and the unpredictable consequences of modern-day provocations. It was a story that resonated across generations, a real-life drama that captured the imaginations of millions. So what do you think? Do you buy the story? It's a heck of a tale, or not. It's got all the elements of a great drama, larger-than-life characters, high stakes, and a clash that feels almost mythic. And at the heart of it, a reminder that no matter how big you get, there are always lines you shouldn't cross. In this case, Jake Paul found out the hard way that messing with Mike Tyson's family was one of those lines. As the days turned into weeks, the aftermath of the incident continued to ripple through both the boxing world and the broader entertainment industry. Interviews, podcasts, and news segments kept the story alive, each new piece adding another layer to the unfolding drama. Jake Paul, ever the strategist, saw an opportunity for a rematch of sorts, not in the ring, but in the court of public opinion. He began to craft a narrative of his own, portraying himself not just as the provocateur, but as a student of the game, someone who had learned a valuable lesson from one of the greatest fighters of all time. He started to show more respect in his public statements, emphasizing his admiration for Tyson and the lessons he had learned from the confrontation. To further cement this narrative, Jake reached out to Tyson for a public sit-down, a conversation that would be broadcast live and unfiltered. Tyson, recognizing the potential for a positive message, agreed. The event was billed as a meeting of minds, a chance for both men to address the incident and talk about the broader themes it had brought to light. The anticipation for the sit-down was immense. Fans of both Tyson and Jake Paul tuned in, eager to see how the two would interact outside the charged atmosphere of their previous encounter. The setting was intimate, a small studio with minimal audience, just the two men facing each other, surrounded by cameras. From the start, the conversation was candid and revealing. Tyson spoke first, recounting his initial reaction to Jake's comments and the emotions that had driven him to confront Jake in person. He talked about his past, the mistakes he had made, and the lessons he had learned about respect and boundaries. His tone was calm but firm, a mix of authority and vulnerability that captivated the audience. Jake listened intently, nodding in agreement at several points. When it was his turn to speak, he was surprisingly humble. He admitted that he had underestimated the impact of his words and actions, and expressed genuine regret for crossing the line. He talked about his journey from YouTube star to boxer, the challenges he had faced, and the sometimes blurred line between entertainment and respect. The conversation flowed naturally, with both men finding common ground despite their differences. They discussed the pressures of fame, the responsibilities that come with being a public figure, and the importance of learning from mistakes. There were moments of humor, moments of tension, and moments of genuine connection. By the end of the discussion, it was clear that both men had gained a new level of respect for each other. The sit-down was widely praised. It was seen as a rare moment of genuine dialogue in a world often dominated by sound bites and sensationalism. Fans appreciated the honesty and maturity both Tyson and Jake displayed, and the conversation helped to shift the narrative from one of conflict to one of growth and understanding. In the aftermath, Tyson and Jake continued to build on this newfound respect. Tyson invited Jake to train with him, offering to share some of the wisdom he had gained over his long career. Jake, eager to learn and improve, accepted the invitation. The two were seen training together in Tyson's gym, an unlikely partnership that captured the imagination of fans around the world. The training sessions were intense but respectful. Tyson pushed Jake to his limits, teaching him not just the physical aspects of boxing but also the mental discipline required to succeed. Jake, for his part, showed a newfound humility and dedication, absorbing Tyson's lessons with a seriousness that surprised even his most ardent critics. As the months passed, the incident that had once seemed like a potential career-ending blunder for Jake Paul became a turning point. He began to show more respect for his opponents, both in and out of the ring. His public persona softened, with less emphasis on provocation and more on genuine competition and sportsmanship. For Tyson, the incident reinforced his role as a mentor and elder statesman of the sport. He continued to speak out about the importance of respect and boundaries, using his platform to advocate for positive change both in boxing and in the broader world of entertainment. The story of Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, which had started as a rumor-fueled clash, evolved into a narrative of redemption and growth. It became a testament to the power of dialogue, the importance of respect, and the ability of even the most unlikely individuals to find common ground and learn from each other. In the end, the incident was more than just a headline. It was a lesson about the enduring values of respect and humility, about the importance of understanding and growth, and about the power of dialogue to bridge even the widest of divides. And for both Tyson and Jake Paul, it was a moment that would define their legacies in ways neither could have anticipated. So what do you think now? Do you buy the story? It's a heck of a tale, true or not. It's got all the elements of a great drama, larger-than-life characters, high stakes, and a clash that feels almost mythic. And at the heart of it, a reminder that no matter how big you get, there are always lines you shouldn't cross. In this case, Jake Paul found out the hard way that messing with Mike Tyson's family was one of those lines. How did you feel about the clips I just shared? I think this is something that is definitely attracting the attention of people, and all of the clips were intriguing, along with my commentary. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe for more thrilling updates.